Animal fossil records go back to over 600 million years. Today, over 1 million animal species exist, but that number is thought to be much higher. In fact, three-quarters of all life on Earth are insect species, the most evolutionarily successful group on the planet. Animal diversity is far and wide, from familiar animals such as dogs, crabs, worms, spiders, and fish, but that also include parasitic worms, corals, and sponges. All animals have the following in common: they're multicellular, digestion is done internally, and at least have one modal stage in their life. Recall that fungi and animals arose from supergroup Opisthoconta, which are protists that have a single posterior flagellum. This feature is exhibited in chytrid fungi, many lower animals, and animal sperm cells. Animals are heterotrophic, but receive their foods in a variety of ways by being carnivores, herbivores, omnivores, detritivores, parasites, or scavengers. Because of our complex tissue structure and need to gather food, motility is found at some stage in all animals. All animals have a diploid dominant life cycle where all of our cells except our gametes are diploid. Therefore, alternation of generations doesn't exist in this group. Finally, all animals have a body plan in which their morphology is determined by developmental cues and tissues. Animals differ from other eukaryotes in lacking cell walls altogether, allowing for more motility. An extracellular matrix such as an exoskeleton, integument, and/or skeleton make up for this lack of cell wall by providing an animal with its shape. Animals have four basic tissue types. Epithelial tissues are any tissue that lines the surface of other tissues or organs. They can protect underlying tissues, absorb and secrete substances. Connective tissues help connect different anatomical parts. They can also provide structural support such as in bone and cartilage and deliver nutrients and waste such as blood. Muscular tissue helps an animal move. And finally, nervous tissue helps transmit nerve impulses to create an action in animals. All four tissue types make it possible for animals to quickly respond to environmental changes and move towards or away from a stimulus. All animals are monophyletic, but can further be broken down into 5 monophyletic clades: Porifera, which are the sponges; Placozoa, which resemble multicellular amoeba; Cnidaria, which are the jellyfish and their relatives; Ctenophora, which are the comb jellies; and finally, Bilateria, which include the rest of the animal kingdom. Most animals undergo sexual reproduction, although asexual reproduction does exist in more ancestral animals like sponges, jellyfish, and flatworms. During fertilization, haploid sperm and egg join to make a diploid zygote. This requires a male and female of each species to occur. Sperm is typically smaller and motile due to the flagellum, while eggs are much larger and are sessile, meaning remain in place. If asexual reproduction takes place typically by budding or fragmentation, where part of the parent animal breaks off of the main animal and it grows into its own individual but has the same DNA as the parent animal. Another form of sexual reproduction is parthenogenesis, in which gametes from diploid cells without the aid of fertilization. Only females can do this because the nutrients found in eggs are used to feed the embryo. This has actually been observed in insects, some fish, reptiles, and some birds. After the zygote forms, it will go through a series of development stages during which primary germ layers, which are the beginning embryonic tissues that will specialize into organ systems. The 3 germ layers found in animals are the ectoderm, which makes the integument and nervous system; the endoderm, which makes the digestive system; and the mesoderm, which makes all other body systems. Animal development begins with cleavage, which is a series of mitotic cell divisions of the zygote. The zygote does not grow yet, but further divides. These cells are called blastomeres. After 3 divisions, the 8-cell stage then will undergo some varying changes depending on the organism it will become. Eventually, this 8-cell stage becomes a hollowed-out blastula. Finally, gastrulation occurs, which is the formation of the gut or digestive system, as well as the germ layers mentioned. Diploblastic animals form only the ectoderm and the endoderm. Triploblastic animals form the ectoderm, endoderm, and a third layer called the mesoderm. Some animals produce larval forms which can appear different from adults. This is more common in insects. Incomplete metamorphosis, as seen on the left, occurs when young resemble miniature wingless adults that get gradually larger with age until adulthood. Complete metamorphosis, shown here, occurs when the young are different from adults in morphology and feeding habits. Eventually, the larvae transform into adults. The advantage of complete metamorphosis is to reduce competition between adults and larvae. In our next video, we're going to look at features used to classify the animal kingdom.